Hello everyone, my name is Igor. This is my partner Max. We will start with a few words about ourselves, and then we will tell a bit in detail how our presentation doesn't work. Let me check that. Oh, it works. One more time. Okay. We will try to tell our story, how we came to work on the project together. So, as I've said, I'm at the investment company Digital Future. We are a venture capital firm, and we invest into IT technology projects, e-commerce, marketing, and everything connected with that. And we also happen to invest in games. And this is my colleague Max. He will tell a few words about himself.
Thanks, Igor. So my name is Max. I'm a founder of MissinGames, a mobile games development company based in Kyiv, Ukraine. And it took me 3 years and 8 games to get to this point. And I do realize that this is just the beginning of a success story, but still we are happy to share the story that we have right now.
And what I also would like to tell a few words about, I'd like Max to tell a few words about, this is actually the project that we are working on, that we as a venture capital firm invested in, and the project that Max is developing right now.
Yes, with pleasure. So Totem Treasure is an arcade adventure game designed in a cartoonish graphics and designed for all ages. So what's special about this game? Basically, it's two things. First, it is totally unlinear, so you have a lot of quests, different quests with different rewards. So you have the way to choose your own way, what you want to do, how you want to progress. Is it upgrading your characters or competing with other players in high score mode, or just progress the world? And another thing is, what I like the most is that we are creating the atmosphere of having fun. I mean, even if you are not a really good skilled player, even if you are a really bad player, you'll still have some fun. I mean, you won't die instantly, you won't drop off, you'll have some fun. This is guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. The most peculiar thing about the game is that it is fun as hell. I watched one video of it, gameplay, and really, I literally wanted to grab it and play it myself. So, let's go to the topic of our presentation, and we will talk about how investment companies and investors come to the decision whether or not to invest into gaming companies, and from the point of view of the game developer, what it takes to get funding for the project. So, first question that I would like to start with is okay, I understand that there are lots of examples that wouldn't confirm this rule, but still, the majority of investors do not want to invest in games. Why is that? First of all, you have to understand the psychology of the investor and his attitude. What he's looking for in the projects that he wants to invest into. And the problem with the games and gaming business is that from the point of view of a general investor, it's not a business. Because first of all, there are a strict set of rules how investment works and what investor actually expects from the money he pours into some project. So there are a specific set of things that he wants to get. First of all, if we're talking about gaming industry, exits are rare. They happen, of course, but that's not the rule, and that's not the common thing. Another, if we're talking about, from the point of view investor, about building a business with steady cash flow, that's also not the case with games. Because games are his-driven business, and usually it happens when you have a big title coming out, you will get like ton of money from all the sources, all the platforms. But when your project is not a hit, you won't even cover the costs of production. Another thing is that when you're looking at the project from the point of view investor, you first of all looking on the market for the project. You're looking on the competition, on the demand, on the market, on the problem that that the project, the product or service is solving, and you try to predict, to make the assumption what is the demand for that product or service on the market and how much you're going to make with that product or service. Games are entertainment, it's a creative business, and it is really hard to make evaluation of that kind. Usually it's only a team with great idea and experience or some crazy project that excites you, nothing more. Before it gets to the consumer, to the gamers who buy the game, love the game, play, pay, and so on and so forth. Before that happens, it's very often hard to make assumption how it's going to turn out. It was really a great deal of information for me when I was watching some interview with the guys who done great PS3 and PS4 title, The Last of Us. They couldn't believe that the game is going to be a success till the last moment. So even the guys with the great track record, they didn't know whether it's going to turn good for them or not. So that's the problem with the games and gaming industry and how investors approach it. And the last, but probably not the least, is the situation that the success is hardly reproducible. Because if you make one great game, it doesn't really mean that your next project will be successful. We know lots of examples when great companies with great hits, they just vanish because they couldn't repeat their story. So, what it really means is that general venture capital firms, general investors, they do not understand game development business. They do not know how to approach it, how to evaluate, how to make the decision whether or not to invest into those projects. I tried to put some brief points about their attitude from the point of view investor and developer, where they conflict and where they have some difficult points communicating. So if we're talking about investor, and this is our situation, we try not to just give company the money, the funding, but we provide smart money. We try to apply our expertise in marketing and biz dev to the project and to make it successful. And that was the problem for us, because we understood that all our expertise, all our experience didn't work in gaming. So this is the first problem. Even if a company has expertise in development, marketing, publishing, you name it, it with great chance won't work in gaming industry. Another thing, and this is the conflict between a game developer and investor, game development investors like very structural business approach to development, to financing, to plans, all those things that game developers hate. They hate those tables with those boring numbers. They don't see any uses that, and this is actually the thing that investor is looking, because all those numbers help structure the business and help to drive that business. And all that approach, contrary to developer and investor, it also seeds on unreasonable expectations, both from investor and both from game developer. So, when we come to the decision, what specific features, what points investor is looking in the game developer company when he's making the decision whether to invest or not. This is the set of questions that you have to ask yourself and see whether you can fit at least into some of them. Because if you do, it will greatly increase your chances to get the funding from the investor. First of all, you may be a team or a guy with a great idea, but if you do not have a track record of successfully delivering the projects, this is the great risk for investor, and he will think twice, 3 times, and multiple times before making the decision to give you the money. Because if he's not sure that you are going at least to deliver the project, and if we're talking about projects being successful, he won't give you money to do that. Another thing, as we've talked that all the expertise of the venture capital firm won't help you to develop your project, because developing the project is one thing, publishing, marketing it, and delivering it to gamers is another thing. So apart from developing, you should do your homework in terms of business development. You have to talk to publishers, you have to have business connections in order to make the project successful. Of course, another helpful thing which derives from the first point, if you have the history of success and you have the audience for your products that you can also introduce to your new project and thus increase the chance for success for that project, that also is very good. And the last thing, you have to learn how to work with all those boring tables in order to put on the table detailed, structured development plan, financing plan, how you're going to get this money and how you're going to spend it. And now I'll give floor to my partner Max, and he will tell how all those criteria met in MissinGames.
Thanks, Igor. Yeah, so you started to talk about perfect opportunity, so we switched to our case. So I just wanted to start from telling you about our company really short. So it started 3 years ago, and it was just one man with one straight goal and just $5,000 of pocket money. So and today it is 11 people, employees on full time. We have 8 games already published, and we were talented and lucky enough to start making money from our first game. So and this is the example of what I did before start talking to investors. I'm not saying that this is the perfect scenario, but for me it helped a lot because when I started I had that traction that Igor was talking about. I could show numbers, I could show the progress that we are capable of doing something. So I believe the most important thing between investor and the company is to build this confidence that we know what to do and we know how to do this. And we've done this before. And what's important behind the product is the business development. I mean, even if you have smart money, the business development of your product and of your company is your job. No one will do it instead of you. So for us, the main priorities were to work with the publishers. So we had this initial commitment for soft launches with some publishers, regional publishers, and then we started negotiations with the global top publishers around the world with our product. And this is another thing that helped to build the confidence that we know what to do. I mean, the investor confidence in us, in our company. And this is what we've learned, participated in European Accelerator. This is where we've got all the business contacts. And another thing about business contacts is that press, media, all the articles, interviews, reviews, it seems sometimes not very important for mobile games, for casual games. Yes, it won't bring a lot of installs and influence on your store and KPI of your game, but you never know. Maybe you've done this one article or interview and someone from investor company will read this article and this will build the trust of your company. And in the end of the day, that will make their decision positive. And getting back to the product, this is the exact example how we did it with the digital future. The yellow one is plan A. We showed what we are doing right now, what we are capable to do with our own money and with our own team. And the green one is plan B, what we are going to do when we get investment. So the thing is that from the investor point of view, they looking at the plan A, the yellow one, they like it. And then they're looking at the green one and saying, like, yes, we like it even more. So we want you to do the green one. So take our money and please do this. And it worked. So talking about when to get the investment, perfect time for getting investment and start talking about investment, this is actually two very different things. In our case, we've met with Digital Future like more than a year ago and signed just like a month ago. So I mean, I really like the example from life when there is a small boy. He doesn't know when he's going to get married, but he starts talking to girls from the childhood, right? Because you never know, the road is very long, and it's always a better thing to start thinking about something from the very, very beginning, even if you don't need it right now. I mean, another thing is when you're hungry, when you're in a rush, when you're in a desperate situation, usually you don't make the right decisions, right? So you want to have more time and you have the opportunity to wait and trade for the best solution. So, and the last thing, but the most important, I guess, for all investors are numbers. So they want to see that you are able to manage every cent, like every number of money that you are looking for. And even another slide shows like even more numbers. I mean, they want to be sure that you know what to do with every cent of the investment that you're looking for. And actually, I mean, these three things, like business development, production plan, and finance plan, this is what I believe build the confidence, investors' confidence, and make the high-risk gaming investment into a low-risk and the confident deal. Well, and just a bit about perfect investment, right? So the perfect investor is another partner, another employee into your company that will get more influence in what you are doing and how you do this. So the first two things are very important. It's like must have the understanding of risks and specifics and having the same goals. Only with those things you'll have the money that will help you grow your business. Without those two things, it will like be the toxic investment. It will hurt your business. And the third one, sharing the expertise of legal, finance, and other kind of expertise is a very good additional thing. But without it, you can use the money in a smart way. But without two first things, it will be just a toxic investment. So that's all for me.
And what I also would like to add to Maxim's speech is that lots of game developer companies looking at the requirements that the investors have, especially when we're talking about detailed plans, detailed financing plans, and so on and so forth, and they consider it to be just a plain bullshit because they know that it's not going to turn out exactly the way it was described. And I will tell you the secret. This is exactly the same case with the investor. They also know that all those plans are not going to turn out to be exactly the same way. But if you're able to put it out on the paper, to structure it and just to go with it and manage the money, see how it changes, implement all the changes and so on, it means that you know what you're doing. You can actually be ahead of the process, and you can actually operate all the process as it should be done. So this is the first thing which is required when the investor tells you, okay guys, everything is good and now give me your business plan, give me all those sheets, numbers and so on and so forth. So this is the first thing, the thing of management. Another very important thing for you to remember is that do not expect the deal to be closed in days or weeks just because you need the money right here, right now. This should be the perfect moment both for you and for the investor. And it is a very good practice to start talking much earlier, just to build that connection, just to get to know each other and to get to the point where you understand that this is the good opportunity for both you and your partner. The story actually with our deal and the story about the title of the presentation, raising money $183 a day. We actually took the number of days from our first contact to the day where we signed the deal, and we just divided the sum of the investment for that day. And the sum appeared to be really small because we actually were talking for more than a year before we signed the deal. And there's also the thing that you should expect, that all this journey, this is the journey with failure. And in order to be successful at the end, you should accept it, you should get experience, you should overcome it and go on, and go on. Because again, the situation with MissinGames and Digital Future is that we were on the brink of signing the deal almost a year ago. But then on our final meeting, we understood that we have some different approaches to business processes, to the vision how business should go, and we stopped the deal because it didn't feel right. And only after we continued to communicate and to know each other, after MissinGames understood that we do understand gaming and we saw that MissinGames really developed their business development skill and approach to business, we make our decision. We understood that this is good opportunity for both MissinGames and us. So be prepared to that. It's a hard way, but it's a rewarding way. That's all from us. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please.
Max, it sounded like during this process, you didn't just learn about funding, but maybe you learned about some more efficient or more effective business practices that are going to help you run a more effective studio. Is that true?
Well, partly, I would say the most biggest thing that we've learned is planning and showing our plans to others. Because I believe most of game developers, indie game developers for sure, they have everything in their mind, in their imagination, but it's a tough task for them to show it to others, especially for investors. And when they're hearing questions like how much money you need, for what exactly, and how you're going to spend it, and what's your production plan, when you're going to release, soft launch, and others, it's like exact numbers, and you're not friends with exact numbers, right? So, and when you need all those numbers and sheets of information, that's the tough thing to learn and to start doing.
And what I can add is that what actually Max surprised me, like in a year after we started talking, we had another meeting, is that Max actually came with a very strict no to some of the discussion points that we had. And it was really point for me that this guy is very clear about what he's doing, and he is really ready to discuss the plans from the point of view, okay, I'm ready for everything, just give me the money. He was able to say, okay, no, this is not acceptable for us, let's work it out. And that was really the sign of a very grown-up person in business way.